I think I know this writer. So, high and deep drones impact offshore energy. Sean, would you like to tell us why you chose this article?
Sure, absolutely. And it is written by Don Zoldi. And the thing I liked about it is the fact that we're covering a tremendous amount of ground when we get to offshore energy. So, what I mean by that is the article covers all the different aspects: aerial, surface, subsurface. It covers not just fossil, but also the up and coming areas in renewables such as solar and wind, and there's a lot of activity going on. So I felt like the article was really, shaped nicely to cover all those different areas of technology and how they're being applied in the offshore market. Also, I felt like it would nicely possibly be a good tie-in to Anna's article when she starts talking more about some of the legal aspects with IMO and surface autonomous vehicles. So I felt like that was just kind of a great tie-in both ways. But what's amazing is to me is how fast the offshore market has developed when you consider that, just a few years ago, the onshore market was where the primary use of drones and robotics was taking place. And the offshore market has developed now very rapidly. And especially, I guess, the aspect of that is, from the dirty, dull, dangerous, that it fits all of those areas. So it makes a lot of sense that you would use robotics, but also the environments are so harsh. So the ability to use surface vehicles or subsurface or aerial in some of these areas around the world, kind of amazing, the technology that's required in order to be able to do that. The endurance of the drones, the payloads they have to be able to carry, things along those lines. So those were the areas that really kind of drew me to the article and made it most interesting for me to talk about today.
Anna, what's your take?
I guess it's a really interesting article because it demonstrates how fast this technology evolves and for what tasks you can use it. And I was really struck by the fact that this technology develops very fast. And from a legal perspective, this is a bit of a problem because law in general lags behind technology. But innovation cycles become shorter and shorter, and technology moving faster and faster. So this really accelerates the pacing problem. And as a lawyer, you just ask yourself, how can law keep pace with all these developments? Because of course we have a lot of rules on shipping and but are these little systems really ships? Maybe not. So we have something like the Internet of Things at sea, ocean of things, and the question really is, do all these rules apply, or do we need new rules, or does it suffice to reinterpret the legal framework? So huge challenges from a legal perspective.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And by the way, fun fact, I met Dr. Petrig through an incredible Navy JAG, judge advocate. I was an Air Force JAG. Commander Tracy Reynolds was one of our speakers on the law of air, land, and sea at our first Law Tech Connect event at AUVSI Exponential this year, and introduced me to Anna. And I'm pleased to announce that Anna will be on our faculty next year in Denver at AUVSI Exponential. So we are absolutely having a maritime panel. Sean, I'll defer to you to talk about EDRC and our plugin there, but clearly, huge maritime energy plugin as well. But I couldn't agree more with both Sean and Anna. I wrote this article for Inside Unmanned Systems magazine and really was inspired by Sean's, let's just call it Keystone or Premier event that they do every year, the EDRC's Summit, which is in Houston, Texas, and will be in, I think, the week of June 12th next year. Just incredible, the panels and the information and the technologies that we saw. And I was inspired by that to write this piece. I reached out to Richard Fisher, the publisher for Inside Unmanned, and I said, hey, there's some incredible things happening here. I want to write about this. And so I met Andrew Lawrence of Deep Trekker, doing some of the remotely operated vehicle undersea inspections and saving, as Sean said, the dirty, dangerous, dull jobs. Like you don't need divers now. Like, you know how expensive and dangerous it is to employ a diver for undersea inspections of these millions of miles of pipelines. So that's a huge development. And of course, Volatus Aerospace was there with their really cool Avidrone. That's like the picture that you see at the top of the article. They're doing this ship to shore middle mile drone delivery. Again, saving time, saving money, not having to use a helicopter, not having to use a surface boat or some other kind of vehicle to do these deliveries of smaller things, probably like tools and things like that. But both in the land, on the sea, and under the sea, as well as in the air, the legal paradigms are not clear. I'd say almost it's ironically a little bit more clear in the air, because we have, to Anna's point, the FAA decided to kind of go a different direction, create a new rule, Part 107, as most of us know here, for the drones. And lots of exemptions and plugging and playing some of their other Code of Federal Regulations provisions, but lots of question marks in the law of the sea, and we'll talk about this more with Anna's article next. But Mike, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, generally, I'm excited about the advancement of drone technology, specifically in the energy sector, looking at the kind of lineage of that evolution from basically a point where no company even wanted to mention that they were using drones, if they were, because they thought it was a competitive advantage, to now it being understood as a technology that we're all using, and then now advancing to basically every facet, nook and cranny of the energy sector. I think the reason for that evolution is probably because of the dangerous work that was involved for human inspection to go on, and the also critical need for that level of inspection to happen. So not only are you getting rid of the dangerous aspects, but you're also allowing the ability to scale. And to push this one step further, it's not just capturing the data. We now have the tools to consume that data with machine learning, to actually surface what the critical issues are, and then have a human review it for flagging. So I think all of this is just a great step in the right direction for the technology, specifically on a commercial plane, because there's a lot of money in energy. And it's probably one of the most critical issues is, maintaining our energy sector, as we've seen, especially in the state of global politics as they are now. Energy consumption, energy production is more critical than it was before, because it's not really one world economy. It's now split in the energy sector back into two worlds. So I don't think drones are going away on that front. I think they'll only become more critical as we scale up over the next couple of years.
Maybe an aspect which we didn't touch upon yet is we only talked about beneficial uses of drones, but of course drones also give a cutting edge to criminals. And for instance, in the Red Sea, drone boats have been used to attack critical infrastructure at sea, attacks against oil platforms, but also against merchant ships and warships. And for criminals, this means that you can act from your home office. You don't have to be at the scene of crime, which greatly reduces your risks of being killed, arrested, or even detected. And I guess that's also going to be a challenge. Of course, drones can be used, or remotely piloted crafts underwater, above water, for beneficial uses to enhance law enforcement capabilities, but it can also enhance the risks at sea, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, we did discuss kind of on our Twitter Spaces last week with Sean Pribble, the nature of automated systems in a maritime setting are now kind of making definitions kind of strange. Is this a ship? Is it a vessel? And it's easy to imagine, as we see in all sorts of theaters, whether it's war or even prisons, drones being used for nefarious purposes because they do provide almost a level of removal from the threat actor from getting caught. So again, this also got brought up the kind of last week on the full crew, the use of kinetic solutions to dismantle drones, and that makes sense on a battlefield, but kinetic solutions are not readily available to private industry and probably shouldn't. So at least in their current form, right? So we're going to have to work this out not only on a legal and regulatory level, but then what do you do when somebody breaks that law, period? Uh, you know, they don't care. They're breaking it on purpose. What do you do with that person, and what technologies need to be developed to kind of deal with that person too?